No, because that is dumb.
How?
It's just dumb.
How?
Because I said so.
Whatever.
Hello, thank you for joining us on Marketing Beat. Today we're going to be talking about reasons to leave your agency. And again, disclaimer, we're not trying to throw shade at agencies, but it depends on your business and what kind of help you do need. But we're going to explain to you what, from our experience working at agencies, why it might be a better fit for you to work with a smaller business or a freelancer. And I'm Beverley Theresa. I'm a social media strategist based in Edmonton, and I'm fucking awesome. This is my co-host.
Hi, I'm Ameet. I've got about 9 years of experience in pay-per-click advertising, and that's basically all I do now.
Yay! PPC! Okay, so where should we start? Do you want to talk about communication?
Yeah, I think that's probably one of the biggest hurdles. And there's two parts to it too, which is also very annoying. So then sometimes with a lot of agencies, you get you'll get the client, account manager, and then the person who actually manages the account. So you actually don't get to talk to that person ever. That's actually working in your accounts and actually is knee deep in the data every single day. So that's kind of a bit irritating, I find. And I think that's something that a lot of my past or even present clients have expressed when they worked with another agency, is that they just never knew who was working on their accounts. And there's also the use of jargon just to make themselves seem a bit smarter. And then all of a sudden you've got the client walking out of a meeting going, I don't know what happened. And I don't know what you're talking about. And that's also incredibly irritating for someone like myself to hear, because it's just one of those things where we should at least try our best to help the client understand what we do for a living at the very least.
Yeah, and like use plain language, because not everyone knows what the fuck you're talking about, because it's like, oh, I'm going to measure the KPI of your CPC and then do some SEO and other things that I don't know. But like,
synergy.
Just don't try and, I guess, overwhelm your client or your potential client, because that's really shitty. And explain it to them in real life. And also, on the communication front, one of the agencies I have experience with, they were the salesperson, then it goes to the project manager, and then it goes to an account manager, and then it goes to the strategist or specialist. So that's like 3 people that it has to go through just to get to the strategist. And sometimes you get account managers thinking they can do strategy, but it's like, hi, you're just managing this account. Are you a social media strategist? Tell me more about social media. And as much as the strategist or specialist can push back, like, it's not really in their hands to make decisions, even though they're the ones who are executing the work, which is really shitty.
Interesting. I didn't realize it went that deep.
Oh, yeah.
It's like a weird internal linking strategy.
Yeah, it's kind of useless. But hey, and also, like, that's another thing. You're paying for all of these in-between people. You're paying for, like, their salary. You're paying for the overhead of, like, the sweet office. Like, I'm all for working in a sweet-ass office. Like, don't get me wrong. But when you go to an agency and it's, like, super cool and it's, like, Google or whatever, like, they have ping pong and all this shit, you're paying extra for that.
Yeah, the company's not paying for it. The clients are.
Yeah, exactly.
Fair enough. I think the other one that I really don't like is like reporting. And I get that question a lot from a lot of people where they're like, how do you report? And I'm like, I kind of don't. If I can avoid it, I do it. I don't report. I don't think there's any value in it, especially if you're, if the only thing that really does matter is the bottom line at the end of the day.
Oh, yeah.
So for me, my reporting in the past has literally been half a page where it's like, this is your return on your investment. This is where the return came from. Done.
Yeah.
I find a lot of other agencies like to put in like website visitors, what the bounce rate was, how long people were sitting on the site. And then not really offering any insight behind why they actually gave that information, which I find very irritating, because it's just like, why is this information pertinent in the first place then? If we're not going to give them specific reasons as to why we're telling them how many website visitors they got, when they can easily jump into analytics themselves and figure it out, or like time on site, why does that matter to them? There's really no point in actually giving them that information then.
Yeah, just like really fluffy metrics that don't do anything for them. And also, like, I've seen reports done by a book that's yellow that also does digital marketing now. I don't want to say their name. A book that's yellow and it has pages in it. Yellow fucking pages, okay? I've seen a report done by yellow pages and for social, and they're like, here's all your impressions, and this is how many people, blah, 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 and we took your $5,000 and got you all these impressions, but it's like, no one fucking cares about your stupid ass impressions. What about conversions? Or what about reach or engagement? So it's just like fluffy shit.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try and like calm down.
Relax. Just take a deep breath, man. It'll be okay. It'll all be okay.
What about, so the chain is like a salesperson talks to the client. What about those salespeople? I hate like the ones that sound like car salesmen. Like, that's so annoying.
I've avoided them for the most part, to be entirely honest with you. And I haven't worked with a lot, so I don't really have a lot of I don't have experience with them. So I don't know if I can actually share anything on that front.
I've been in meetings or overheard meetings, not eavesdropping, just overheard, and having like a salesperson just being like, yeah, we can get you X amount of leads a month on your like $1,000 budget. And it's like, we can't get them that many leads on your small ass budget. Like, we might be fucking great, but that's like over promising and we're going to under deliver. And that just makes me mad, because it's like, then when you don't reach that number goal that's like unreachable anyway, then it makes you look bad. And also, like, I find that a lot of salespeople, because they don't actually implement digital marketing, like maybe they did before, but not like hands-on everyday digital marketing, their knowledge of it is dated. And so
that makes sense. I think it's that notion of always be closing regardless of what actually happens, which is a little disheartening. Because I think I remember working at the agency and them doing the exact same thing, where I literally told them that they couldn't do it, and then they would go to someone else who would confirm the information. And it's like, why come to me in the first place then if you're going to alter the information?
It's kind of like you're just their PPC monkey. And you just do PPC, and they tell you what to do, even though you're the specialist.
You would hope that I was, at the very least.
Yeah.
They don't usually believe it, though.
Do you think that's one of the reasons why you went on your own as well, like just to get away from that? Because that's one of the reasons I wanted to work for myself.
I think I've always was meant to work for myself. I don't really have a personality that works well for an employer-employee relationship. I work well with other people. I just don't work well when somebody kind of walks into the room and assumes that I know less than they do, especially when I was hired to know more than them. So I do have a bit of an ego issue for sure. I'm aware of it. So for me, I think I always knew that I was going to end up owning my own business, but I think it's happened sooner than later because I couldn't handle working at the agency. And I didn't really like the practices. So it just made more sense for me to go out on my own.
That makes sense. Don't get us wrong. We do work for agencies. Like, they outsource to us, or contract. Yeah, out to us. Yeah, so we're not trying to slam agencies. We're just saying, like, this is from our experience, and this is why agencies will charge 20 grand for like a basic Squarespace website or whatever it is. So I want to talk about social media agency people for the most part, like from my experience, they work nine to five or whatever their hours are. And then on the weekends, they don't even bother checking the account, or they don't have the social media accounts hooked up to their phone. So it's like, how are you responding to engagement in like that timeline that people expect response by? Like, I don't know, it just blows my mind that you can not look at a client's account in the evening because you're at home, you're not at work.
Yeah, I think the experience that I've had with agencies is somewhat the same, where we don't necessarily need to be in the account all day long, which is quite nice. But what ends up happening is they'll take 3-4 weeks to even just get a campaign up and running, or a small little change done. And then because they're not in the accounts as frequently, they don't catch the mistakes either. And then there's just a lot of wasted spend, which is unfortunate.
Most clients for digital marketing, I'd assume, are on a retainer with agencies. So they pay X amount per month. I'm just explaining it to people just in case they don't understand. And so if you have a change that you want to your website, you might not have enough time left in your retainer. So they'll be like, oh, we'll do it next month. But it's like a 10-minute change, text or something, but they can't do it because it's not in the retainer fee. If you get a good person working on your accounts and on your stuff, then they will bend over backwards for you. But for the most part, it's like, well, I can't touch it because it's not in the retainer and a PM didn't assign it to me.
Yeah, actually, that's very true.
And I do extra shit for my clients all the time because I only work with people I like. So like, I'll touch their website even though they just hired me for social. It's like, why not? Like, you don't know how to do it, I'll do it for you.
Yeah, I usually do a lot of that stuff too. Or like for us, it's more, our turnaround time's quite a bit shorter. Where sometimes like if like Daytona's like, we need to get a campaign launched by tomorrow, I'm like, okay, I'll clear my schedule.
Yeah. It's just, I like the flexibility of being able to help other businesses without worrying about like, is this in the retainer?
I don't like working like that. I like having a retainer, but I like not managing hours.
Yeah,
I know like if we grow, it's going to be a bit harder to keep it that way. But for the most part, I don't think I ever want to be an agency that actually counts hours.
Yeah, because that's brutal.
Yeah.
Well, in my opinion.
I mean, we'll count hours, but I don't want to like do it for the sake of billing XYZ for whatever.
Yeah. Like, oh, we have to bill you for an hour because we spent 10 minutes updating text on your website. No.
I'm good.
Let me take a moment to tell everyone that I will be presenting at Next Big Thing in Calgary, #YYC, on March 16th. It's a Saturday, and I'm going to be talking about how to turn your actual followers into customers, because it's like, you have all these followers, but no one gives a fuck unless they sign with you or they buy your product. So how to do that.
But we both are going to be live and in person on March 8th and 9th at iMedia, which is going to be in Edmonton. What are you talking about, Bev? Really?
More growth hacks for your social media. So to like grow your following count at a rapid pace, but also I'm going to throw in some black hat stuff because I know y'all love knowing about that shady shit.
So what level of skill do you think people should be at to show up for your talk?
I recommended they be advanced or intermediate, so have experience with these, like have a lot of experience with social, because if you do some of the things, and like I'm not telling you need to do these black hat things, I'm just literally showing you what other marketers could be doing, you can fuck up your accounts. So yeah, what are you talking about?
I've got 2 sessions actually. The first one is going to be about 9 guaranteed ways to get results, essentially. So it'll be broken up into corporate, small business, and NPOs. And then the second will be how to set and hit essentially goals. So I might turn that into a bit of more of a workshop-y type of breakout session. Yeah, that's basically really the two that I'll be doing. Well,
Bye.
thank you
Thanks for joining.
joining us. We're back next week at 10:30 MST, and we
Watch
release
replays
a
on
new
YouTube.
video on YouTube, which is essentially just the live for you to watch over every Tuesday.
We edit it down to not include our crap.
Yeah, there we go. All right. Okay, bye.
Bye.
Thanks for joining us.
Bye.